Thanks a lot for that, Anusha. Of course, it is our pleasure to welcome you on a brand new look of Plain Speak. This time around, we're joining you for the very first time from our brand new studios, which are the biggest facilities as far as entire Asia is concerned. Well, first of all, let's take a look at the big issue that we're debating today. Remember, the Delhi Ordinance Bill or the Services Bill was tabled in Rajya Sabha by Union Home Minister Amit Shah today. This bill gives control of bureaucrats to the Delhi LG and will replace the ordinance on transfers and postings of senior bureaucrats in the national capital that was brought in earlier. This ordinance was brought by the centre just a week after Supreme Court's order, which gave the control of Babus in the national capital and reporting to the Delhi government. But the Apex Court's order also led the foundation of a law by Parliament on this subject in the future. The Delhi Services Bill was passed by Lok Sabha on August 3 by voice vote amidst a walkout by the opposition parties. But today is the real test for both the opposition and also the centre. A heated debate is already taking place in Parliament in Rajya Sabha today, with the India bloc leaving no stone unturned to oppose the bill. But the BJP seems to be on a stronger footing after BJD, YSRCP and TDP all announced their support to this bill. They claimed there was nothing unconstitutional about this bill as is being projected by the opposition bloc because Parliament has full rights to make laws for Delhi. Currently in Rajya Sabha, there is a total of 245 seats, of which 7 are vacant, which makes the halfway mark, which makes the number 238. The majority mark is standing, of course, at 119 and 120 is required to pass the bill. The interesting thing about this bill's vote is that it is in a way making clear exactly where the two blocks stand, the NDA bloc and the India bloc, because this is the first time we're witnessing something like this since these blocks were reformulated and crystallized. Numbers-wise, of course, the new India bloc can only play catch-up to the NDA, but we'll wait and see how that goes. So is this battle, this vote, setting the tone for 2024, and is this the real test of the NDA versus India numbers ahead of the general elections? That's the big question we're asking, and we'll take that to our guests in just a bit. But first, let's take a look at the arguments that have been presented by all sides as far as this political debate in Rajya Sabha is concerned. Let's start with the ruling party. First up, BJP MP Sudhanshu Trivedi arguing that the SC had said that Parliament can make laws on the national capital, so therefore there is no problem. The BJP also claims that the ordinance was in fact needed and was brought in the manner that has been questioned, the manner that it was brought in because there was a crackdown of sorts initiated by the Aam Aadmi Party soon after the Supreme Court's order on the Vigilance Department, which was probing many issues connected to the Delhi government of the Aam Aadmi Party. Meanwhile, the AAP itself argued that Delhi should be an independent state and this bill was an insult to the likes of BJP leaders like Advani and Vajpayee and others as well. The AAP also claimed that Delhi Services Bill erodes India's federal entity. Remember, this is the big issue that they have been taking to other India bloc members as well and garnering their support on this issue. In fact, one of the most vociferous attacks against this bill came from the Congress party and came from Congress's Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who argued that BJP's approach is to gain control of the national capital by hook or crook. He actually called the government at the centre control freak. He also went on to say this bill is actually an assault on the aspirations of the people of Delhi. Now, take a look at the arguments by the BJD, for example, that's decided to support the bill, boosting the numbers of the BJP or the Treasury benches. Now, they claim the BJP remains equidistant from both the BJP and the Congress, but they decide to support this bill as Parliament indeed has the power to bring in a law of this kind. YSRCP also have decided to support the bill, arguing that Parliament has the power to make a law as far as the national capital region of Delhi is concerned. Remember, it is not a full state. YSRCP also targeted the India bloc and claimed that they are trying to mislead the public, the people of India. The voting on the bill will begin after Home Minister Amit Shah's reply, which is expected soon. But before that, also take a look at the top 5 members of the India bloc that has 99 MPs in total in Rajya Sabha, out of which the Congress is, of course, the biggest contributor, the biggest member with 31 MPs. Remember, for the Congress, this bill was a bit of a conundrum. Their state units did not want to be seen supporting the Aam Aadmi Party on this issue, both in Delhi and in Punjab. The Delhi unit, in fact, felt that this bill was needed for the national capital because it is a special entity in its own terms. The Aam Aadmi Party is obviously having 10 MPs. Before that is also the TMC that has 12. DMK, also part of the India bloc, has 10 MPs. And of course, RJD is the 5th strongest member as far as the India bloc is concerned. And these are the numbers that will also give you a sense of how crucial the Congress numbers here are. Overall, the India bloc didn't have to vote in Lok Sabha, but it will be crucial to see and interesting to see how they vote and if they vote this time in Rajya Sabha to make their voices heard. Overall, the numbers, just for the benefit of our viewers, is 104 on their side, which is against the bill, but the government has as many as 131 in support. With that, let's begin our first debate of the day. The real test of NDA versus India numbers ahead of 2024. Is this bill vote going to be that?
ये बिल लाल कृष्ण आडवाणी जी का, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी का, मदन लाल खुराना जी का, सुषमा स्वराज जी का, अरुण जेटली जी का, सबका अपमान करने का और उनके 40 साल के संघर्ष को मिट्टी में मिलाने का काम करता है। सर,
This bill is completely unconstitutional. It is fundamentally anti-democratic.
पहली बार ऐसा हो रहा है कि किसी देश की राष्ट्रीय राजधानी में उस देश की केंद्र सरकार की शक्तियां, उससे अधिक शक्तियां किसी और की होनी चाहिए। मेरे विचार से दुनिया में ऐसा कोई दूसरा उदाहरण देखने को नहीं मिलेगा।
Let's go across to the guests joining us. Guru Prakash Paswan is from the BJP. Harishankar Gupta from the Congress Party joining us. I'm also joined by Abhinandita Mathur, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Arun Anand, consulting editor, First Post with us. Guru Prakash, let me begin with you. The most vociferous attack against this bill and the intentions behind this bill, as I mentioned earlier, came from the Congress's Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who went on to say that you are a control freak Sarkar. That there is no other government in the past that has tried to overturn 2 constitutional benches' judgments. There is no other government in the past that has tried to do what this bill intends to do. And there's a reason for that, that no previous government intended to do what this bill has intended to do. So in a way, questioning both your tactics and your intentions.
Shivani, a very warm good evening to you and all my fellow panelists. Obviously, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi ji is a senior advocate and he knows how to argue. And given that he is a advocate, he can argue from any given side. But as a nation, we are a constitutional democracy, Shivani. And what I have in my hand is the Constitution of India. And the Constitution of India, Article 239, Subclause 3, Subclause B, it categorically states, and I read, nothing shall derogate from the power of Parliament under this Constitution to make laws with respect to any matter for a union territory or any part thereof. This is the Constitution of India saying. This is not the Bharatiya Janata Party saying. The Constitution of India empowers the central government, empowers the government of India to make any law. And this is constitutionally speaking. Number 2, if you look at the debates from the Constituent Assembly, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Jawaharlal Nehru, they were of this strong opinion that the central, the NCT, the National Capital Territory must come under the purview of central government. Look at Washington. Look at the National Capital Territory of Canberra in Australia. There is no regional or state government.
Number
3, my friends from the opposition, especially number 3, my friends from the opposition, they are selectively quoting the Supreme Court judgment, while the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs have also taken up from the Supreme Court judgment the paras 86, 95 and 164. Nowhere it questions. Nowhere in these para the Supreme Court has questioned the legislative competence of the Indian Parliament over its jurisdiction.
I get all of that. Mentioned all of that. No, Guru, I mentioned all of that. But respond,
my last point, Shivani.
Respond to the intent. And of course, eventually some portions of this bill have been diluted, I'm guessing for a reason, right? The intent of the bill is being questioned.
Shivani, that is, and I mean, I find it really laughable, Shivani, when Aam Aadmi Party speaks of democracy and speak of constitution. Aam Aadmi Party is the only political party in the country which has a permanent post reserved for its national president, Arvind Kejriwal. He has said that I am going to be the permanent president of Aam Aadmi Party. There is no internal democracy in Aam Aadmi Party.
Let's not deviate to that. Let's not get into how the parties
Shivani,
are run.
Point.
But respond to the question I'm asking. Yes,
Shivani, it's about your intention. It's about your character. The character of Aam Aadmi Party is anti-democratic. I gave you example from the Constitution of India. I gave you example from the Supreme Court verdict. I gave you examples from the Constituent Assembly debates. My last point, Congress senior leader, former member of parliament, son of former chief minister of Delhi, Sheila Dikshit, Sandeep Dikshit has categorically said कि अरविंद केजरीवाल ने INDIA के नेताओं को बरगला दिया है. Arvind Kejriwal has confused the leaders of INDIA on this particular ordinance, and he has supported this ordinance. What does it say? So we have to understand one simple point, that this entire facade of constitution, this entire facade of democratic ethos, it's nothing but without any logic, without any base and without any foundation. Our argument, our assertion is constitutionally backed, it's democratically asserted.
Right, fair enough. I'll go to the Aam Aadmi Party on the hue and cry that the party is making on the constitutionality of this bill, and also, of course, on the federal structure of the country coming into danger because of this bill. Remember, this refers to the National Capital Region of Delhi. It really does not come under the basic federal structure that the center and the state enjoy, or that relationship otherwise. Delhi is a special city and a special entity. You may want it to be a full city. It isn't as it stands. But before I go across to the Aam Aadmi Party and, take a response on why they are overblowing or overstating the importance of this bill, let me go across to our Congress representative. Harishankar ji is with us. Is it wrong to point out, Harishankar Gupta, the fact that your party is doing what it's doing in Rajya Sabha or in Parliament, opposing this bill purely out of political compulsions, purely because you were blackmailed, if I may use that term, you were given an ultimatum by the Aam Aadmi Party to oppose this bill or they walk out? You did it purely with an eye on 2024. Your heart is not in it. Your Delhi unit wants this bill.
शिवानी, आपने जो बात कही है अभी, वो काफी सख्त टिप्पणियां की हैं आपने, और मैं उनसे सहमत नहीं। सहमत इसलिए नहीं हूं कि राज्यसभा में, लोकसभा में पार्टी का क्या डिसीजन है, वो पार्टी हाईकमांड को तय करना है। सही है, दिल्ली के अंदर 10 साल से लगातार हम लोग केजरीवाल की सरकार से लड़ रहे हैं, और लड़ रहे हैं, साथ में ये भी कहते हैं कि केजरीवाल की जो अनियंत्रित महत्वाकांक्षाएं हैं, आज जो कुछ भी परिणाम हुआ है वो उसकी देन है, जो माहौल पैदा हुआ है उसकी देन है, ये भी साथ में कह रहे हैं। लेकिन इसके साथ साथ में एक बात और कहना चाहूं, अभी पासवान जी ने जो बात कही है और पूरी पार्लियामेंट के अंदर बीजेपी के और इस बिल को लाने वाले लोगों ने जो आर्गुमेंट्स दिए हैं, उसके अंदर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का भी हवाला दिया है, उसके अंदर टेक्निकलिटीज का हवाला भी दिया है, सब चीजें कही है उन्होंने। 1950 के बाद से हिंदुस्तान के अंदर सरकार जो रही, पार्लियामेंट जो चली, उसके अंदर बीजेपी की इन बातों को लेकर क्या भूमिका रही, ये पूरा देश आज जानता है। लेकिन इनको ये नहीं भूलना चाहिए कि इसी सरकार के रहते हुए, यही सिस्टम रहते हुए, इनकी भी सरकार 5 साल दिल्ली में थी, हमारी भी सरकार 15 साल दिल्ली के अंदर थी। अभी ये 10 साल के अंदर जो केजरीवाल की सरकार दिल्ली में आई है, उसके बाद में ये जो इनके आर्गुमेंट जो है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के भरे हुए हैं, बार बार ये जो आर्टिकल पढ़कर सुनाते हैं 239AA, 2391, 2391B, ये सब जो पढ़ के सुनाते हैं, आज ही इनको क्यों याद आ रहा है? अगर ये चाहते।
हरिशंकर जी, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछती हूँ। आप खुद ही मान रहे हैं कि आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार की वजह से जो सिनेरियो बन गया है नेशनल कैपिटल में, उसकी वजह से ये दिन देखना पड़ रहा है, उसकी वजह से ये बिल आ रहा है। तो आप तो बीजेपी की जो आर्ग्यूमेंट उसको सपोर्ट ही कर रहे हैं, वो भी यही कह रहे हैं। दूसरी बात मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, आपकी 15 साल लगातार सरकार चली इस आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार से पहले, क्या आप दे देते पूरा कंट्रोल?
नहीं, देखिए, मैं वही मैंने कहा ना आपको अभी, शिवानी, मैंने वही बात आपसे कही है कि हमारी सरकार भी 15 साल थी, हमने भी तालमेल करके, उसमें बीजेपी की 5 साल सरकार संसद में रही है, केंद्र में रही है, हमने तालमेल करके दिल्ली का काम किया। और हमारा मुख्य उद्देश्य क्या था? राजनीति करना नहीं था, राजनीति की महत्वाकांक्षाएं नहीं थी, और दिल्ली का मुख्यमंत्री देश का प्रधानमंत्री और मुख्यमंत्री बन जाए, ऐसी सोच भी शीला दीक्षित की कभी नहीं रही। लेकिन हमने काम किया और दिल्ली का विकास किया। वहां केजरीवाल से चूक हुई, उसका हर्जाना दिल्ली भुगत रही है। आज दिल्ली की सरकार, बड़े अफसोस से कहना पड़ रहा है कि दिल्ली की सरकार को बाय बाय टाटा कहने की आवश्यकता पैदा हो गई।
बट सर, मैं आपसे इस बिल पे सवाल पूछ रही हूँ, यही तो मेरा सवाल था आपका कि आप
दिल्ली के अंदर कोई सरकार नहीं है।
नहीं, मैं आपसे बिल पे सवाल पूछ रही हूँ। हरिशंकर जी, जनता तो ये जानना चाहती है ना कि कांग्रेस का असली स्टैंड इस बिल पे क्या है। आप इस बिल के सपोर्ट में है या नहीं है? आप तो इस बिल के सपोर्ट में लग रहे हैं, लेकिन आप पार्लियामेंट में, राज्यसभा में अपोज करेंगे, क्या ये सही है?
देखिए, मैं आपको शिवानी जी एक बात पर ले जाना चाहता हूं।
हाँ जी।
आज देश का चुनाव, आज देश जो जिस परिस्थितियों से गुजर रहा है, देश के अंदर जो बड़े मुद्दे हैं, महंगाई का है, बेरोजगारी का है, और धर्मनिरपेक्षता का जो मुद्दा है, जो विषय पूरा देश कंसर्न है, लोग भयभीत हैं, लोग घबराकर घर बैठे हुए हैं। आज उससे लड़ने के लिए विपक्षी एकता की जरूरत है, और एक ही कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम है कि बीजेपी हटाओ और देश बचाओ जी। आज ये प्रोग्राम है, उसको सामने रखकर कांग्रेस का फैसला है।
जी, बिल्कुल फैसला है, and you are, I mean, you are, of course, you have the prerogative to decide that for your party. The public will judge if you're being honest with the issue of the national capital and the issues it faces. But let me bring in Abhinandita. Please respond to both.
एक मिनट, just give me 30 seconds.
Yes.
Just give me 30 seconds. Just give me 30. आप दिल्ली के बारे में कह रही हैं, बिहार के अंदर पूरा बीजेपी जब सरकार में थी तो पूरा बीजेपी ने ये समर्थन दिया कि जातीय आधार पर जनगणना होनी चाहिए, और बीजेपी की जो केंद्र में सरकार थी वो लगातार खिलाफ करती रही। तो डबल स्टैंडर्ड तो नहीं चलेगा ना। मैंने बता दिया आपको, दिल्ली है, दिल्ली के विषय है, पंजाब के विषय है।
Okay, fair enough, but can I just come in? No, Harishankar Gupta, आप जो पॉइंट बोल रहे हैं, I take your point, but there is a slight difference in that. State units and let's say a state government of a party, and that too an alliance party, and the central government may differ on issues. They will, of course, have to explain their issues and thrash them out. But this is a different scenario here. The Congress, it's not that, you are in government at the center, but your state unit is opposing it. You're neither in government in Delhi nor at the center. Then why the duplicity on your standards? Is that duplicity not purely because of political compulsions? But I gave you the opportunity. Let Abhinandita come in. Abhinandita, please respond to what both the BJP and the Congress are saying. One, this is not about constitutionality. Second, it is not about whether this is right or wrong. The parliament has the right to make such a law. And this entire situation was precipitated because of your government. This, both the BJP and the Congress seem to be in agreement of.
Good evening. You're right that this is a very serious matter, and I will address the questions of the two panelists before me. But before that, I would like to convey something to the people of Delhi, that it is, and come in solidarity with them, that it is indeed a very, very sad day for democracy, sad day especially for the citizens of Delhi, for the residents of Delhi like myself, because today, we have had to face a political fraud that has happened to us. The 2 crore people who vote in a government, and incidentally with a huge mandate, an unprecedented mandate, today stand powerless, stand helpless. And the reason why this is happening is simply because Modi ji is unable to compete with Arvind Kejriwal. You know, अगर आपको compete करना है अरविंद केजरीवाल से, तो आप स्कूल में compete करते, आप हॉस्पिटल बनाते, आप कुछ शिक्षा मॉडल लाते, आपके पास कुछ नहीं है दिखाने के लिए. And then when you finally keep losing and losing elections, you are a sore loser and you end up, you know, I mean, changing the law. For God's sake, I mean, इतना भी क्या, you know, इतने बुरे थोड़ी ना loser होते हैं आप, इतने बड़े विश्व गुरु हैं. Leave Delhi alone, for God's sake. We genuinely believe that this bill is unconstitutional, that this bill is not only attack on the federal structure of the constitution, but also on the basic core values of what India is. I mean, we are known for, you know, diversity. This is the capital. And we would like to ask the BJP spokesperson here कि जो फिर साहिब सिंह वर्मा जी, मदन लाल खुराना जी, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी, LK अडवाणी जी इतने साल से स्टेटहुड की डिमांड कर रहे थे दिल्ली की, वो क्या मतलब टाइम पास कर रहे थे, झूठ बोल रहे थे.
गुरु प्रकाश, प्लीज.
तो ये क्या दिल्ली के लोगों को आपने इतने सालों से बेवकूफ बनाया हुआ है? So 40 years, this struggle has gone on for 40 years. Look, we must understand that the people of Delhi, like myself, are not merely voters without any power.
Guru Prakash.
We are citizens. Delhi, it is our identity. It's not a small state.
Shivani.
2 करोड़ लोग दिल्ली शहर में रहते हैं और आप
it's my
उनसे उनके
turn,
हक
so-
छीन रहे हैं और एक ऑर्डिनेंस के थ्रू वो भी, not in a regular procedure of how a law is brought about. What was the emergency to bring out the bill?
Guru Prakash,
One more
let
thing,
him come
you
in.
know, they said they gave long lectures. They gave long lectures about, I'll just finish. They gave long lectures in the parliament today about why this bill was important. And let me just state it clearly. आपके अंडर लॉ एंड ऑर्डर है कि आपसे दिल्ली नहीं संभल रही. You know, you are not able to handle Manipur, and then you can bring in the president rule and you're not doing it, letting people die. And here in Delhi, when there was absolutely no need to bring in this ordinance, you bring in this ordinance because
Ms. Mathur, let him respond very quickly. I have to go to Arun Anand also. Let him respond very quickly. You raised the particular question of what was the statehood demand that BJP leaders themselves were raising. Where does the BJP stand on this, Guru Prakash? Relevant question to ask today.
No, Shivani, I was patiently listening to my friend from the Aam Aadmi Party, and definitely people of Delhi, I think when you look at the assembly election, you should also look at the verdict they have given in the parliamentary elections in 2014 and 2019. People of Delhi have given 7 members of parliament, all of them, 2 crore
why
people
don't you
of Delhi
discount
have
all the
sent out
7
people to
seats,
be as
Lok
member
Sabha
of-
seats of Delhi? What kind of an
Shivani, I did not
argument
speak
is
when
this?
she was speaking. Shivani, I did not speak when
Yes, very quickly, please
Shivani,
finish.
I think,
Guru
so
Prakash, I have 30
I
seconds for
I
you.
think this
Please
is-
respond.
this is the-
Please respond to the statehood
No,
question. I
Shivani,
need to go to
Shivani,
Arun
you did
Anand
not-
also.
Shiv-
Fair enough,
Shivani-
30 seconds. Please respond
No,
on the statehood
Shivani,
issue.
you did, Shivani, I did not speak a single word when the panelists from the Aam Aadmi Party was speaking. I expect you give me the same courtesy.
30 seconds,
Thank you.
please.
This
30
is the
seconds.
dual standard. This is the hypocrisy. This is the dual standard. This is the hypocrisy of the Aam Aadmi Party. They speak of democracy. They speak of constitution. But this is the mannerism they show on the television. Number one. Number two, you speak about the people of Delhi. People of Delhi have trusted us in 2014, in 2019. The ordinance categorically speaks about creating National Capital Civil Services Authority. It has the chief minister. It has 2 bureaucrats. The chief minister is there. The sole point is that the Aam Aadmi Party, through all this gimmickry, through all this rhetoric, want to save their corrupted netas. They have to accept the fact, they have to reconcile with this reality that half their mantri mandal, आपके आधे मंत्री तो जेल में हैं. आप लिकर पे स्कैम करेंगे और उसके बाद आप ये आशा रखेंगे कि ऑर्डिनेंस का विरोध करके उनको बचा लेंगे. आपके आधे मंत्री आप जो वादों के उन वादों का आपने गला घोटा है.
Abhinandita, I'll come back to you. Arun Anand, there are 2 questions here. One is of perception. As Abhishek Manu Singhvi said, is the central government appearing a control freak sarkar? That they're wanting to control what goes on in the national capital through a backdoor, through a law brought in, even though the court had a different mind. The second is about numbers. On that, maybe the NDA doesn't have much of a problem. We'll know soon, of course, as the Rajya Sabha also votes on this. Where do you think each side stands on these 2 issues, perception and numbers? Who's winning both of these wars?
I'll come to that, Shivani, but just let me take you back. Let me take our viewers a little bit back in terms of a historical perspective. See, when Delhi used to have Municipal Corporation of Delhi and Metropolitan Council, there were 2 houses. Metropolitan Council was the upper house. Then in early 1990s, Delhi was given a special status and an assembly was formed. And the first government which came there was the BJP government headed by Madan Lal Khurana. Now, from 93 to 98, they ruled, and from 98 to 2030 to almost 2013, Congress ruled. None of them had any confrontation with the bureaucrats. There were pitched battles within assembly, outside assembly. But something strange has happened after Aam Aadmi Party has come to power, and there is a pattern in it which I see. Because in Punjab also you see them confronting with the governor, you see them confronting here with the lieutenant governor. Successive chief secretaries have been hounded out. So this kind of a thing was never there. Now coming to this thing, I was listening to the fellow panelists that what Sahib Singh Verma had said, what Sushma Swaraj had. And fortunately, I had the opportunity to cover all these proceedings of assembly as a cup reporter at that time. So, but the governance, the environment of governance is a very dynamic thing. It changes with times. 98 to 2013, it was a different time. The Aam Aadmi Party had not come into existence at that time. Even if you look at historical thing, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who was always there for, I'm just giving an example, who was always pitching for, the freedom of expression, absolute freedom of expression. He was the one who brought First Amendment in 1951 to curb or to
freedom of
put
expression.
some restriction.
Yeah.
So when things change, when environment changes, you have to, sometimes change your earlier stance, and for the sake of good governance, you have to bring, certain. I'm not saying whether this bill is right or wrong, but I'm just saying that you cannot be in a time capsule that whatever you had, argued in 98 or 2005 or 2007, so that still holds the ground.
Okay,
And
but
especially
Arun Anand, can I just come in?
I'll just take 10 seconds. See, we have seen a situation where a chief minister had sat on a dharna almost near Republic Day, and so that is why, and Delhi being the capital of the country, I think the way Aam Aadmi Party has governed and dealt with the bureaucrats, and they are doing the same thing largely in Punjab also. So I think that is what has prompted the government to bring this bill. And
Perceptionally though, do you think the central government is being able to make that point that this is for the betterment of Delhi? Or is Arvind Kejriwal succeeding more in convincing not just his like-minded parties? Eventually he managed to bring Congress on board too, which was opposed to their stand.
I think Congress is in a soup in this whole situation, because it's a tactical alliance which they have done in view of the 2024 elections. So it's an uncomfortable situation for them. I think the biggest loss in Delhi especially is going to be for Congress. And I think Aam Aadmi Party, of course, they have a very good media management and strong communication network. So I think it's a battle which is not going to end today or tomorrow, even after the bill is voted for in Rajya Sabha.
Precisely.
This is going to continue for a few days to come.
No, this could well become one of those issues that 2024 is fought on. Very quickly, Abhinandita, I want to come back to you. Virtually everybody on the panel, whether with you in an alliance or otherwise, is suggesting that your behavior is also in dock. By your behavior, I'm saying the government's behavior, especially after the Supreme Court order in your favor, the manner in which you seem to clamp down and, take files, etc. from the Vigilance Department, did that behoove an elected government, given the investigations that are on against many of your colleagues? Is that how you should have responded?
Okay, I'm very happy to answer this question. And I must say that all the panelists, as they should, are actually doing their job. What is important is that the Aam Aadmi Party government, since 2015, has served the people of Delhi. The people of Delhi have, despite all odds, have got what they were promised, and they're happy with it, which is why the Aam Aadmi Party gets a unprecedented mandate even as incumbent. So I think that, we have to understand this very clearly, that while we debate about, the nuances of the bill or whether we like it or not, the fact is that this bill is anti the will of the people. And because the will of the people has been to be with Arvind Kejriwal ji, they have again and again chosen Arvind Kejriwal ji to be their chief minister, which is why the BJP is paranoid and had to bring in a bill where the chief minister's powers are reduced. So I think that it is very unfair for us to,
the Chief Minister's
the buck
powers
ultimately stops at the
No, but
people.
one second. The Chief Minister's powers have not been reduced. The Chief Minister did not have control of the bureaucracy before the Supreme Court's judgment. And in this case, there's a body and authority where the Chief Minister will have a voice.
That is not entirely, no, that is not, I can explain this to you technically, that is not entirely true. Because earlier, one is this committee, that did not exist earlier.
Yes.
Second is that, before the Anti-Corruption Bureau, for example, was taken away from the Delhi government, there were many other measures that did belong and rightly so were mandated with the Delhi government that were taken away by the central government.
All
Look,
right.
I've heard enough arguments about how the BJP and Congress may have worked
I'm just saying
properly
that let's
in
not
the
make it
past and so
sound
on,
like-
but that was an era of Atal Bihari
No, no.
Vajpayee.
Let's not
This
make
is
it
the
sound
era of
like there
Modi
was a
Shah. I mean,
referendum.
there is a
One second.
difference. There is
Abhinandanita,
Gunda
I'm
Raj
just
in this
saying-
country.
I'm
Look
just
at what's
saying-
happening in Manipur.
I'm just saying, let's not make it sound like there was a referendum on whether the bureaucracy should be under the complete control of the Delhi government when the elections were held. The public did not really vote on this issue.
No,
right?
that's
That
not-
issue has only erupted now,
You're
and the
right.
public will possibly vote on it later. But I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us.